What's up guys, my name's Brandon and today Apple released iOS 26 Beta 8 to registered developers and very soon to public beta testers. Now along with this update, we also saw Beta 8 for iPadOS 26, watchOS 26, macOS 26 Tahoe, tvOS 26 and HomePod version 26, along with visionOS 26 Beta 8. But of course in this video we are talking all about iOS 26 Beta 8. So starting off with the size of the update, you can see just like the past 8 betas, we have a very large size at over 11 gigabytes on my iPhone 16 Pro Max. Keep in mind all that storage is not being taken up on your device, like that's not new storage being taken up. A lot of those files are just being overwritten. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a peek at the new build number for this 8th beta. So we have 23A5330A. So once again, an A at the end of the build number, just like we saw last week with beta 7. So that is always a good sign. Now, if we go down and check out the modem firmware, that is at 2.04.06. And that is the same modem firmware that we saw with beta 7 for the iPhone 16 series. So don't expect any type of major changes to cell connectivity or anything related to the modem. All right, so now what's new here in iOS 26 Beta 8? And as always with Beta 8 updates, if you guys have followed the channel for a while, you know this, but with Beta 8 updates, you are not going to expect many visual changes, if any visual changes whatsoever. It's very rare to see a lot of features and changes on a Beta 8 of a major software update. Like I talked about before, typically we see we really see more changes in the RC than in the Beta 8, at least historically. So just keep that in mind going into this update. Don't expect to see anything major that has changed from Beta 7. And in fact, if you take a look at the Beta 8 IPSW file, it's exactly the same size as Beta 7. So that should tell you a lot right there, that there's not many changes in the code going from Beta 7 to Beta 8. So one of the first things I check for on any beta, but especially in a Beta 8 when there's really nothing else to look for, is the liquid glass to see how much different that is from Beta 7, if at all. And you can see here in the control center of Beta 7 versus Beta 8, I see no difference in liquid glass in the control center. And then if we go into the music application and take a look at the menu bar down there at the bottom, I have them both on the same spots, Beta 7 on the left, Beta 8 on the right. You can kind of see if you look closely, I don't see any difference in liquid glass in the music application either. So, I think it actually looks great now. It looks better than it ever has been aside from the very first beta, but it's a lot more, legible now than it was in that first beta. So I think Apple has found a pretty good middle ground at this point. And if you go into the App Store, you can see that's pretty much the same as well in light mode. And if I go into dark mode, once again, you can see that they look identical. Beta 7 versus Beta 8 in pretty much every application I've looked in, liquid glass seems the same as it was in the previous beta, which again, I am okay with. Another trend that we've seen over the past few betas are animation speeds. So specifically when opening up applications, the animation speeds have changed from Beta 5 to Beta 6 and then from Beta 6 to Beta 7. But here in Beta 8, the animations seem about the same. I don't see any difference from Beta 7, which they are faster. Like if you're coming from a much earlier build, you will notice that the animation speed is much faster here in Beta 8 compared to like Beta 5, for example. Also in the settings application, if you plug in your device, a bug that we saw in Beta 7 is when you plugged in your device and it was charging and then you tapped on this eye right here, it would take you to basically a broken link where it would just show like getting started with iOS. But now Apple has fixed that and it shows, the correct splash screen here, the correct, support document to tell you about charging your iPhone. However, Apple has still not fixed the bug inside of settings. If we go down here to privacy and security, location services, and then go down to the wallet application, you can see that it's missing its glyph icon. So every other icon on this page has its glyph filled in, but wallet is still missing for some reason. I also had somebody ask me on Twitter if anything has changed with the camera application, more specifically when changing between modes and the direction that you scroll. So if you guys remember, Apple changed that a while back. They changed the direction and then they added a toggle if you wanted to change it back, and then they removed the toggle and reverted it back to how it's always been. So people are asking if that has changed and if that toggle has come back. Well, I can say no, it has not come back. We do not have a toggle in the settings anymore to change the direction of the scrolling when changing modes in camera. Now, there are also some very minor changes in the code base for iOS 26 Beta 8, and you can see this one right here is related to an in-app privacy pop-up in the Photos application. That's kind of what all this code means here. And then it also looks like there was a change to the poster foundation, which is like on the lock screen, the poster image on the lock screen, and for contact posters. And then taking a look at the release notes for Beta 8, there are a couple of changes in here. So the first one I want to mention is a fix in messages. So there's a fix for one-to-one conversations. The background changes might be attributed incorrectly after quitting and reopening the Messages app. So basically, if you went into a one-on-one conversation and you changed the background to something else, and then you quit out of the application and opened it back up, it seems like that may not have saved in the past, but now in Beta 8, that's been fixed. And there are a couple of other minor changes in there as well. There are still some outstanding known issues, along with quite a few other bug fixes in there as well. So if you guys want to read the full release notes, I will leave those down in the description below. Now, as far as the performance goes, performance feels about the same as Beta 7. Again, Beta 7 felt better than Beta 6 strictly because of the animations for the most part. And then, Beta 6 felt better than Beta 5 for the animations as well. So, we're not seeing any type of improvement with the animations, but as far as overall raw performance, again, it feels the same as it has recently. So no change in performance for me. I did, however, run a Geekbench, and I did score pretty high. So 3504 single core, 8695 on the multi-core. You can see how that compares to the last few builds. It was a bit higher. So that is always a good sign. And of course, we are getting close to that final release, so that is expected. Now, as far as battery life goes, I'm currently sitting at 87% battery life remaining. I'm not sure what I started with at the beginning, but if you guys saw in my What's New video for Beta 8, somebody commented that it's the best battery life yet, basically, because I had the most battery remaining from start to finish on that video. So that also is a good sign for Beta 8. If Beta 7 was already the best battery, I would expect Beta 8 to be pretty much the same. And then finally, let's talk about what to expect next from Apple. So this is the final week of August. Next month is going to be the lovely month of September, iPhone month, and we should be seeing actually when that iPhone event is this week. We should be getting the announcement, the invites for the upcoming iPhone 17 event, which most likely takes place on the week of September 8th. It's most likely going to be on September 9th, but we are waiting for official confirmation from Apple on that. And the reason that date's important is because that's when we're going to see the next release of iOS 26, most likely. So typically, Apple after Beta 8 goes straight to the RC, but it's not a week later. Typically, it's 2 weeks later. So with that in mind, we should be seeing iOS 26 RC, aka release candidate build. That's essentially the final release just for beta testers. So we should be seeing that after the iPhone event on whatever day that is, but it's going to happen after the event. So if it's on September 9th, after the iPhone event is when we will see the RC release for all of the software, including iOS 26. I don't really see any type of reason that Apple would release a beta 9. I guess it is possible, but I just don't see that as being very likely. I do think this is going to be the final beta until that RC comes. And then of course we will see the final official release of iOS 26 to everybody that next week, most likely on September 15th. But again, we will know the official confirmed dates most likely this week when Apple announces the event. And also, since a lot of people are talking about iOS 26.1 betas at this point, we will also be seeing those most likely the same week that iOS 26 gets released to the general public. A lot of times we see that 26.1 or that X.1 beta 1 update like the day after the release of the big release. So after 26, we should see 26.1 beta 1, potentially even right there on the 16th or the 17th. Anyways, we can talk about this all day long, but that is iOS 26 beta 8, a very, very minor update, just as expected for, pretty much the end of the beta cycle for iOS 26. I cannot believe how fast time has flown by with these iOS 26 betas. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Not a lot to talk about, but I hope I, at least got you up to date with what's going on in the world with iOS 26. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on all the big iOS 26 videos coming very soon. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.